Kings, if you could learn the secret to the single neurochemical molecule that is specialized for men, that when you have more of it in your body, you become a superhero, you become the ultimate protector, you become a safe masculine presence, you can heal from any addiction, you can heal from trauma, you can have a significantly higher drive and clarity for your sense of purpose. This neurochemical anchors safety into your nervous system, into your body, your neurology. It's what makes a man feel grounded and present, territorial and protective. It also blunts and softens the crash of a dopamine high, which I know you've experienced. You'll also have better sleep quality, lowered anxiety, lower depression. You can get rid of all that stuff. So are you dying to know what it is? It's called vasopressin. I know you've heard of things like dopamine and oxytocin. We all know about those. But vasopressin is very specialized to men. Yes, women have it as well. The big neurochemical parallel for women here is oxytocin. It's primarily how women bond to other people. Dopamine is present and vasopressin is present still in those. But oxytocin is one of the primary drivers for women, whereas vasopressin is a primary driver for men. And the more vasopressin-inducing activities that a man engages in, the more he anchors safety into his nervous system, his body, his neurology. The more he's able to step into his healthy masculinity. The more he's able to be a protector and purpose-driven. And the more grounded and self-assured he becomes. What man wouldn't want that? And what woman wouldn't be totally gravitated towards a man who has those qualities? We are living in a severe epidemic where men are vasopressin deficient. This leads to addiction. This leads to hardly any men that women can even be attracted to because they're not living in a healthy masculine state. They're living in a wounded masculine state. And men are becoming so addicted. Men are becoming dopamine bonded to things that are addictive rather than becoming vasopressin bonded to things that are grounded and anchoring safety and security and a sense of purpose and motivation and drive and creativity. If you are not embodying all of these incredible qualities of healthy masculinity, then you are vasopressin deficient. So how does a man go about achieving high levels of vasopressin? You may wonder. So it can happen in a romantic relationship. It can happen when a father is bonding with his children. In particular, he will get much more vasopressin when he bonds with his sons rather than with his daughters. When he bonds with the daughters, there'll be more oxytocin. And he's essentially teaching her that it can be safe to be open and vulnerable and surrender into that. Many fathers don't know how to teach their daughters that. And when a man engages in activities with his son, vasopressin bonding activities, another nickname for it could be, "Hey son, I'm teaching you how to be a man." A man has vasopressin releasing activities with coworkers, a spouse, a loved one, a friend, a neighbor. When the activity is cooperative, and requires teamwork, coordination, working towards the same goal together. When two people or a group of people come together to cooperate and have teamwork and work on the shared same goal, vasopressin is released. In both men and women, but in significantly larger amounts in men. This anchors safety into the nervous system. And this is the reason why combat veterans are known for having amongst the strongest vasopressin bonds on the planet. And the reason why is because they're literally doing cooperative teamwork where the stakes are very high. That could literally mean life or death. So the higher the stakes during the teamwork and cooperation, and the better that the cooperation goes with communication and coordination, then the stronger the neurochemical release of vasopressin is. There will be stronger and larger amounts of vasopressin happening. So for a man, this will bond him to the person who he is engaging the vasopressin bonding activities with. The higher the stakes, the riskier it is, and the better the cooperation is during that experience, the stronger his vasopressin experience will be. And the stronger he will have anchored safety into his neurology. And what does that do? With every single thing in his life, his baseline, his neurological baseline level of safety just raised. Now he feels safer in every single activity that he is engaging in. He is more grounded, more present, more self-assured, comes to the table with better ideas, becomes a healthier risk taker. He becomes more embodied in his healthy, solid, strong, masculine presence. His ability to become a protector increases from a neurobiological standpoint. And when a man has relationships in his life that maintain vasopressin bonding, he maintains an anchored sense of safety in his neurology. This means that he is significantly less likely to go seek an addictive behavior or choice because the safety is built in because of the vasopressin. But let's say if a man does go and engage in a thrill-seeking, high dopamine-seeking activity where the dopamine spikes, then a way to blunt the crash of the dopamine crash is to quickly get into vasopressin bonding activities later that day or the next day. You will definitely want to anchor in vasopressin bonding activities with someone in his life. After a high hit of dopamine, avoid that harsh crash. Go engage in vasopressin bonding activities. This is the safest thing you can do for your neurology, your nervous system. And anyone who is healing from addiction or trauma or PTSD, if you are a man, go heavily engage in vasopressin bonding activities. This is a non-negotiable for your nervous system to feel safe again. This is going to be one of the most healing neurochemicals that you can experience. You will also need oxytocin in there with it. That will be a part of it. But men, you have significantly more neuroreceptors in your body for vasopressin than you do oxytocin. Women are the opposite. We're loaded with oxytocin receptors. Men, you are loaded with vasopressin receptors. And raise your hand if you know what your attachment style is in attachment theory. There's only 4 different types. If you don't know this, you need to learn this. Learn it today. It's very quick, very easy. You can usually take like a 6-minute online quiz that's free to learn what it is. Only one type is secure. There's another type that's called avoidant, another type that's called anxious, and then there's another that's like a blend of the two. They go by different names, so I'm not going to say them all. But men, for those of you who are the avoidant attachment style, you have even fewer oxytocin receptors than all the other men. And you have even more vasopressin receptors than even all the other men. This means that it is significantly even more important for you to lean in heavily to vasopressin bonding activities. As human beings, we are deeply, deeply wired for connection and bonding with other people. When you do not have that, your subconscious mind and nervous system, it is impossible to feel safe. As a man, it is impossible to feel safe when you are not vasopressin bonded to other people in your life. This is going to be even more true for those of you who are the avoidant attachment style. So you might be getting some of it from your coworkers. You might be getting some of it from your brotherhood. By the way, if you don't have a brotherhood, another non-negotiable, get that in your life. Vasopressin bond with the men in your life, in your brotherhood. Use discernment so that these men will be a true support to you when you open up with your biggest, truest vulnerabilities. Be that for them also. Men, when you choose to vasopressin bond with other adults, whether it's in your brotherhood or with a woman who you are romantically interested in, let's talk about the reason why it's so important. What does this mean? What does it mean subconsciously to a man? Why is it so important? This is why. As a man goes through cooperative teamwork activities, he is learning whether or not that person or the different people on the team, he's learning who is trustworthy and reliable. He is learning who is trustworthy and reliable. And the more that he continues to engage in vasopressin bonding activities with individuals who truly are indeed trustworthy and reliable, and they continue to prove that over time by engaging in accomplishing tasks together, then that deeply anchors safety into his neurology. And here's why. Because now his subconscious mind says, oh, when things are challenging in the future, I know who I can count on to have my back. When things are challenging and stressful and falling apart in the future, I know who can have my back. The only way a man can know that is by continually going through activities like that and reinforcing the truth of that. So the more complex and the more risky and the more there is at stake during the vasopressin bonding experience, and it ends up being a good experience for him through teamwork, cooperation, communication, the better that stuff goes, the more that it anchors safety into his neurology and nervous system. Do you know how many men are existing today that do not have that? So men are committing suicide, getting addicted, living a dopamine lifestyle. Men, you don't want to live a dopamine lifestyle. You want to live a vasopressin lifestyle. You want to live a vasopressin lifestyle to the strongest, deepest degree possible. This will change your life and it will save your life. This has got to be one of the contributing factors why there's such a high rate of addiction and suicide among combat veterans. They got PTSD going to fight for our freedom. And when they came back, their band of brothers was ripped apart and now they're living all over the country and they don't get to have that continual reinforcement of vasopressin bonding, which anchors safety into their body. So they just literally experienced the most life-threatening experiences. And then getting back home, they now no longer have the band of brothers on a day-to-day basis to engage in vasopressin bonding activities that held them together so strongly in the first place. So men who fall into that category are going to have to massively and deeply lean into the vasopressin bonding activities even heavier. Okay, let's bring it back around to the romantic context. I kind of got sidetracked there. There will be a few reasons why a man wouldn't choose to engage in vasopressin bonding activities with a woman who he's attracted to. One could be his neurology is accustomed to living the addictive dopamine lifestyle. His neurology is accustomed to living the addictive dopamine lifestyle. This is going to mean he doesn't have very good vasopressin bonding in his life, which is going to drive him and compel him to seek addictive choices. Then that is going to significantly lower his drive and motivation to engage in vasopressin bonding activities. If a man is engaging in pornography, then it is going to rob him of the drive and motivation to go and seek the safe vasopressin bonding activities. This means he's essentially doing dopamine bonding and not doing vasopressin bonding. And dopamine is present still, always with the vasopressin bonding, the dopamine is still present. But it's not the dominant or primary. And when a man is doing the dopamine bonding activities, that is so dangerous for his nervous system. Men, that is so dangerous for your nervous system. It lowers your baseline level of safety in your neurology, your body, your subconscious mind. This means you're less purpose-driven. You have either more anxiety, depression, or both. Maybe brain fog, low motivation. You're less productive, but you're more exhausted. You're less productive, but you're more exhausted. Another reason why a man might be hesitant to engage in vasopressin bonding activities would be if he has been betrayed in the past by a woman who he has vasopressin bonded to in the past, and then that woman betrays him. That's another reason why a man would be hesitant to engage in the vasopressin bonding activities. His subconscious mind is saying, I don't know if I can trust myself. I trusted myself in the past to vasopressin bond, and I got burned. And now he doesn't trust himself, which means that he is going to have more time for discernment. More time to have discernment. So the thing that feels safer is to just go for the dopamine bond. But that's also not safe. But essentially, what functionally is the safest, what functionally is the safest for a man is to very deeply lean into vasopressin bonding activities. Do this with your male friends, and do this with a woman who you might be interested in. Do this with your kids, and you might be lucky enough to do this at work. When you go to work, you might have a job that's set up for this. And when it comes to the dating world, it is so much safer for you as a man to engage in the vasopressin bonding activities first before engaging in the super fun, thrilling, sexy dopamine bonding activities. And here's why. If you're just going into those dopamine bonding activities, it becomes addictive really quickly. It becomes addictive really quickly. And that will rob you of your drive and motivation to do the vasopressin bonding activities. It's only safe for you when you do the vasopressin bonding activities. That's what anchors safety into your neurology as a man. You can't get around this. So when you are engaging in the vasopressin activities first, guess what? That's not addictive. So it is significantly easier for you to see the red flags. So that if something isn't right, you actually have the ability to use your discernment to say, hey, that's not right. And since you're not addictively dopamine bonded, you can walk away so much easier. You can walk away so much easier. And you are protected. You got to use discernment. You got to use real life data that person was either safe or not safe. Safe or not safe. The only way to do that is to engage in the vasopressin bonding activities that will let you know what kind of character that individual has. Are they a trustworthy character or not trustworthy? Can that individual hold their own when things get challenging and difficult? Or are they going to crumble and now you have to take care of that person and the stressful thing that made them crumble? The only way it is safe for you is to set the addictive dopamine activities aside. That's basically just like jumping into the sexual experience, right? And swap it out for vasopressin bonding activities. And just like the only way for a man to feel safe is to have vasopressin deeply anchored into his neurology through continuous and many vasopressin bonding activities. For a woman, she needs tons of oxytocin. And when a woman engages in things like physical touch, eye gazing, anything sexual, she instantly begins to oxytocin bond to that man. And oxytocin bonding to a man, for a woman, is only safe for her if and only if he is vasopressin bonding to her. We will get all into the neurochemistry of that one. I'm not going to go into that one here, but that's the next video. It's called the oxytocin trap. And the oxytocin trap for a woman is addictive and damaging neurochemically, significantly lowers her baseline level of safety, and is far worse than just the dopamine crash. The oxytocin trap is far worse than just the dopamine crash from a neurological standpoint. And if you are a man who does already have incredibly strong vasopressin bonds, then if you do happen to engage in a high dopamine activity, the crash won't be as bad, and you'll recover faster. And the way, no matter what situation you're in, to recover from a high dopamine spike is later that day and the next day. Lean heavily into vasopressin bonding activities. Anything cooperative, anything teamwork. Lock that safety into your neurology. Watch every part of your life get better. I promise you this. This is a neurochemical non-negotiable. And men, you can't get away from this. This is your neurobiology. Use this information to empower yourself. Use this information to empower yourself. And men, you must eliminate pornography 100% from your life in order to embody healthy masculinity. These are the laws of neurobiology. You can't escape it. So check out the lesson on the oxytocin bonding, the parallel version of this for women. And I also have a single video that has the 3 types of bonding strategies, which is dopamine bonding, oxytocin bonding, and vasopressin bonding. Dopamine's present in all of them, but when it's just that one, ooh, it's dangerous. And here's the kicker to all of them. Even though we talked about vasopressin for men here, vasopressin is so important for women because when a woman is experiencing the oxytocin bond to a man, it is only safe for her neurology when he is vasopressin bonded to her. So women are actually significantly more vulnerable and at risk of experiencing the lack of safety because it is significantly quicker and easier for a woman to oxytocin bond to a man. It happens real quick. But for a man, it takes a long time for him to vasopressin bond to a woman. It takes all of those teamwork activities over and over where a woman just gets naked with a man and she will automatically, neurochemically, non-negotiably begin to oxytocin bond to him. And her neurology is left raw and wide open and unprotected if he is not vasopressin bonded to her. She feels this deeply and viscerally on a subconscious level, which is why it lowers significantly her baseline level of safety from a neurological perspective. So men really do have the neurochemical upper hand. Men and women are not the same. Men really, really do have the neurochemical upper hand here. And are truly, it's so much easier for a man to be neurochemically protected than a woman is. Because the man is not dependent for her to be oxytocin bonded to him yet in order for him to feel safe with her when he vasopressin bonds to her. But she does require the vasopressin bonding from him in order for her to neurochemically feel safe, if she is oxytocin bonded to him. Which means that the only neurophysiological, safe option for both men and women happens to be the old traditional route. Traditional courtship. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I never thought I would have said that. But I'm coming from a place of experiencing the painful parts of it and understanding the neurobiology behind why it's true. But now in 2025, we're so quick to just jump in so quickly to the sexual experience, get that quick rush of the dopamine hit. That happens for both men and women. The woman falls quickly into the oxytocin trap. All right, be on the lookout for the oxytocin one and the one where I talk about all three. I want to hear your questions in the comments below. I want to hear what surprised you the most when you listened to this, and what action step are you going to take to anchor more safety into your nervous system so that you can function at a higher level in every imaginable way. Jessica Jordan here, signing off.